بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. In this series where we've been describing and sharing some details around the biographies of the great Imams of the Qur'an who preserved and kept intact for us the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we've covered 7 Imams of the Qur'an. There are 3 more. So in this final one, I just want to focus on one. I'll mention the names of the others, but I just want to focus on one. Imam number 8, his name is Abū J'afar Yazīd ibn al-Qa'qa'. He's commonly known as Abū J'afar. He's from al-Madinah al-Munawwara. And he's born early. He passes away in the year 130 after Hijrah. So he meets many of the greats of the companions and reads the Qur'an to many of the greats, such as Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu arda. It is even confirmed that Abū J'afar, as a child, was taken in to visit the wife of the Prophet Salama radiyallahu ta'ala anha, who rubs his head and makes dua that he receives goodness, and that was answered because he became the great Imam of the Qur'an. He reaches such a level with Qur'an in the generation when companions are still present there, that the likes of Abdullah ibn Umar, the great companion, he prays behind Abū J'afar. Abū J'afar leads Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu in prayer. It is reported about Abū J'afar that he used to fast the fast of Dawood alayhi salam, which is Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us the best of all fasts, the fast of Prophet Dawood alayhi salam, where he'd fast one day and not fast the next day, then fast one day and then not fast. That's the best of all fast that Prophet Dawood alayhi salam used to do, and Abū J'afar, he used to fast that same fast. As was the way of all of the people of the Qur'an, he would spend the night praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's reported about him, in the middle of the night he would wake up and he'd stand and he'd read 4 rak'ahs. And in the 4 rak'ahs he'd read al-Fatiha followed by a long surah. Then he would make a dua after he's finished his prayer for himself, for all the Muslims, and for all of those who read the Qur'an the way that he taught the Qur'an. When somebody, Abū J'afar, had a student by the name of Shayba. Abū J'afar's daughter was somebody that many of the leading people of Al-Madinah, they wanted to marry her. Because this is the daughter of Abū J'afar, the Imam of Qur'an. Abna'ul Muhajirin wal Ansar, the sons of companions, they were asking for her hand in marriage. He refuses. These are wealthy people. He's refusing. Eventually, who does he give his daughter in marriage to? His student, Shayba, who's completely broke, penniless, who has nothing, doesn't have anything. So when he's asked, you gave your daughter to your student Shayba and he's got nothing, what's his answer? He said, إن كان الشيبة مقلا فسيملأ بيتها بالقرآن. He said, even if Shayba has nothing, he will fill her house with the Qur'an. Even if Shayba has nothing, he will fill her house with the Qur'an. Abū J'afar had this special relationship with the Qur'an, such that when he dies, it's reported that as those who are close to him are gathering around, his son-in-law, Shayba, he mentions to somebody, I'll show you something truly amazing. They said, show us. The shroud that was on his chest, they uncovered it and said there was a shining white light that was coming out of his chest, like the color of milk, a shining white light coming out of his chest, like the color of milk. And all those who were present said, Wallahi, by Allah, that's the light of the Qur'an. Nafi', he was the first Imam, but he's actually a student of Abū J'afar. Nafi' said, when Abū J'afar's body was washed, after he died, people, when they looked at his chest, from his throat down, all of the chest, that white light shining, they said his chest looked like a page of the Qur'an. His chest looked like the page of the Qur'an. He said, and all of those who looked at his chest, they swore, they had absolute certainty that was just the light of the Qur'an shining out of him. And in truth, that's a Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Where Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik radhiallahu anhu said, the last time I saw the blessed face of Al-Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his face looked like a page of the Qur'an. Abū J'afar, his chest looked like a page of the Qur'an. What's happened here? Not only were they reading the Qur'an and memorizing the Qur'an and understanding the Qur'an and living the Qur'an, they became one with the Qur'an, such that the effects of the Qur'an, the trace of the Qur'an, have become invisible upon them, as it was with the Prophet ﷺ, the same with Abū J'afar. In a dream, Abū J'afar is seen, and he's on the Kaaba. Abū J'afar is on the Kaaba. And Abū J'afar tells the person who's seeing in the dream, he said, give all of my people salams from me, and tell them, Allah has placed me amongst the martyrs who are alive in Jannah, being provided for. A person sees Abū J'afar in a dream in the most beautiful of all form. And Abū J'afar, he says in the dream, give the good news to my people. And all of those who read the Qur'an the way that I read it, Allah's forgiven them. Allah's forgiven them. And He's answered the dua that I used to make every night for them. But tell them all. And those who read the Qur'an the way I read it, tell them all, try your utmost to pray raka'at in the depths of the night. That was Abū J'afar. His two main transmitters being Ibn Wardan, Isa ibn Wardan, and Sulaiman ibn Muhammad ibn Jammaz. We'll just quickly, to finish off, mention the name of the last two Imams of Qur'an. The Imam number 9, his name is Ya'qub ibn Ishaq al-Hadrami, who's from Basra, who is a great Imam of the Qur'an from Basra. His two transmitters being Muhammad ibn Mutawakkil, known commonly as Rawais, and Rawh, and the last of the 10 Imams of the Qur'an being Khalaf al-Ashir, the 4th Imam from Kufa, who likewise has two transmitters, Ishaq ibn Ibrahim and Idris ibn Abdul Karim. They are the people of the Qur'an. They are the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the ones who've kept the Qur'an intact for us in this blessed month of Ramadan. Rebuild a connection with the Qur'an. We've heard in this series some of the great reports about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does for the people of the Qur'an. These are not stories. These are real life. And we can take a portion of that as well, because even though theirs was the reality, there is still people of the Qur'an similar in nature to these people, and the Qur'an is open to all until the Day of Judgment. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een.